Hello everyone, it's Hayden from Carpenter's Restoration. Today we're going to be taking apart a dryer to get the drum out because we're going to be making a smokeless fire pit. We're going to use the drum from this no good dryer. It's going to be our base for the smokeless fire pit. It's going to be what draws air in for the secondary combustion to keep smoke from choking out all the people that sit around a fire. To start, most dryers, usually the top pops off. So we're going to take 2 pry bars, 2 screwdrivers, and we're going to pop the top free. And then we should be able to loosen some things and pop the drum, take the drum directly out from here. So I've got 2 screwdrivers, pretty long, pretty big. This is what I'm going to use to pry the top off. I'm going to open the door and I'm going to take it, put it in here, kind of look, you can see where it is, kind of twist. There goes one. Just kind of work around. Let's go to the other side. There we have it, the top comes off. It was hooked in on this back side. Just gonna flop it over, leave these wires connected. We're gonna remove the screws on the front cover of the dryer. In this case, it happens to be a 1/4 inch socket. Removed. I'm going to take this plug right here off. Now that it's off, we can remove our front cover. So now that our front cover is off, we still have this piece right here. It has a lip. It's what our drum is riding in. It's got little lips so that it doesn't flop around. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 screws that we're going to take out and we'll be able to remove this front cover. And I was wrong. Also attached to this front cover is the lens screen box. So we're going to take the screws off for it also. Before we can remove this front cover, we also have another plug that needs to be removed. Now if that plug is done, plug is done, raise up, and the front cover is out. Now that we have the front cover off, nothing's holding it down, we have our belt right here, lift, and finagle until it comes out. There you have it. Now we have our drum, which is going to be our base for our smokeless fire pit. It's going to be what draws in the air for our secondary combustion. Alright, now we have our sheet steel that we're going to use to make the actual fire pit where the logs are going to sit. So I've already marked the line right down through here where I'm going to cut. I've measured the diameter. Actually, I measured the radius and pulled the diameter from that using some calculations. So now we're going to cut this here, and afterwards we're going to fit it up inside of our drum. Alright, now that we got that cut, we got our edges that are kind of got some bad spots in there. We're going to straighten that out real quick before we start. Alright, now that we got our metal inside of our drum, we gotta cut it off where we can weld the top part to the drum. So I'm gonna use my plasma cutter. I'm gonna cut through this. Now we're going to continue welding around here and weld this top solid just like we did the bottom. Alright, now we're going to start drilling holes in the base of our fire pit. These holes are going to be intake holes for the air going in. Normally I would measure and punch and make sure this is exact, but once again, it is an outside fire pit, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just gonna try to space them apart, maybe 2 to 3 inches, and try to make them in line and look good enough. I'm gonna use some WD-40 or whatever product you use for lube, just to make sure our bit doesn't get too hot. Keep it lubricated. I'm using a 1 inch, or actually, I'm using a 3/4 inch sheet metal drill for this. You can use whatever size you like. This is just what I had on hand. Now we're going to do about the same thing. We're just going to do it on the inside. We're going to do it at the top, and we're going to drill some at the bottom. Not as many though. So here we go. Now we've cut braces and put them into our fire pit. We're going to cut the edges off of the steel to make it fit down in there, and we're also going to cut holes into the center of it and all around so it can get some air to breathe.